What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. I'm Drew Bosley. You can find me on Twitter at ArtisticGamer28, and that's the one, the only. It's Scott Savage. You can find him on Twitter at Savage. Scott, it's Friday. We made it.
Yeah, my name sounds like not a real name, but I assure you it is.
Dude, it's a wicked name. You got lucky getting that one. I gotta be honest. Here's mine. It's Bosley. It's a beautiful sun. That's me. For those who don't know what that stands for. Yeah, nothing savage about that. But dude, what's it is savage. It's where you can find us inside the game.ca podcast services and TV streaming networks around the globe. Dude, coming up on today's show, we finally learned details about Battlefield 2042's Hazard Zone. Disney is teasing a new Star Wars title, and Final Fantasy 14 is absolutely on fire. We'll talk about all that and more on today's show. Dude, you ready to get going or what?
Oh, yeah, I am. I've got some questions just based off of that little teaser there.
Well, don't worry. There's a lot more questions ahead. So let's get going because Battlefield 2042's Hazard Zone finally detailed. It's Tarkov meets the Division's Dark Zone. This comes way of Sharif Saeed over at VG247. The mode story kicks off in 2040 following a massive blackout that reduces the world's satellites by 70%. In this place, superpowers launch low-orbit satellites to gather intel. These satellites are then forced down in U.S. and Russian-controlled territories by various factions of the precious intel they contain. As a NOPAT squad, you and others are inserted into these locations to grab as much intel as you can before extracting. Dude, it is exactly like Dark Zone. The fact that you go in there, grab as much loot, and then get out.
Now, is that gonna be? I fear saying it, but Battle Royale has happened on Battlefield before.
Sure.
Is this a multiplayer kind of event?
Well, okay, so here's more details, because believe me, I only grabbed a couple snippets of the article. Sharif nails this thing, so go over to VG247, click on that page for him and give him a click there. But dude, here's a couple more details. Hazard Zone is a squad-based mode played on the all-out Warfare multiplayer maps. It supports 24 players on PS4 and Xbox One, 32 players on PC, PS5, Xbox Series X and S. Players can form 4-person squads made up of the specialists, though you're only limited of 1 specialist per squad, right? Makes like kind of like you get 1 class per, so you can't duplicate the same class, which I like. I appreciate that. I really do like that. I don't like when you can do multiples of the same one. It kind of...
Oh, see, I remember Overwatch when they allowed you to play 4 Torbjorns. That was great.
Well, maybe for some, but what's going on is all squads are vying for data drives contained within the crashed satellites, and the goal is to grab as many of them as possible and extract before a storm creates a no-fly zone and makes it impossible. So they actually, because there's more details, dude, but in essence, there are data drops. You want to go get these data drops. There are 2 exact extraction points of interest. There's one about halfway through the match and one right at the end of the match. Now you can obviously kill off a lot of the other players and take all of their data, but the idea is to get in, get as much data resources as you can, and get out. So I wonder then, because now it plays into the fact that you only have a certain amount of time before you can get in get your stuff and get out of there. Do you go early, Scott, or do you wait till the end where everybody's like, okay, now this is it? Because if you die, you lose everything.
Yeah, well, this is reminding me of Scavengers, because it's the same sort of idea. You're collecting all these different scraps and then exfiltrating, but it gives you the option. I like how there's 2 pickups, because if you're confident enough, you've already grabbed a lot, maybe beaten a couple teams, and you want to get out of there, you could be the winner still. And that kind of gives you the option for stealth. I can see that being much more viable, because it's not coming down to a final battle at the end.
Well, exactly, right? If you wait till the final battle, dude, who knows what's going to happen? It's going to be absolute chaos, probably. It is going to, like, your stealth options are going to be probably pretty limited at that point. But extraction locations are random, but their timing isn't. The first arrives about halfway through the match, just a few minutes, and then the second one, like I said, ends up near the end of the match. So Dude, it sounds cool. The trailer looks cool. It has me excited. I just got hit up about our code today. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be jumping in there in the next little while, and we'll see what we can do to kind of capture as much as we can about that. Because I think, man, I don't know. Like, I think we're going to be on this one for a while, Scott. What do you think?
Oh, I think I am.
Yeah,
whether we're doing content on it or analyzing it or just playing it, I still play Battlefield 1, so I know I'm going to be on this one for years to come.
It sounds like it. There's no doubt about that, buddy. But let's get into what else is coming on in the world of Star Wars. Fallen Order, Star Wars, The Knights of the Old Republic remake is all but teased in the world of Disney. This comes from Jared Moore over to IGN. Disney and Lucasfilms have teased a Star Wars video game announcement for December as part of a publishing campaign that will reveal new Star Wars products every Tuesday for the rest of the year. Now, yeah.
It's a lot of content.
Well, it is, but okay, so it's not all video games. It is actually just essentially one game on December 14th. Okay. The game is going to be announced. The rest of it is it's like a slew of new toys, comics, anime, like who knows what else are you going to get into with the Star Wars brand, but that's what it is. They're revealing now from now, I think it's from now or every Tuesday in December till the end of the year will be a new Star Wars product. There's a calendar. You can check it over at starwars.com for more information on that. But on December 14th, Scott, they're going to reveal a new game. Any idea? Do you think, like, obviously, I think a lot of us are kind of fingers crossed it's Jedi Fallen Order 2, but I think that's just too soon.
Yeah. Well, I think it would be for them to really announce too much at all. I think we're still a couple of years away from that one, although I believe that's inevitable. That game was solid commercially and as a consumer. And I know that they're going to follow that up. They have to eventually. But what could it really be? I'm a little afraid that it's going to be a Battlefront 3, but...
Well, that was my other option, or a mobile game.
Yeah, mobile games are a new burgeoning trend, so that is possible. But there's also been a lot of other games in the past, Jedi Academy, Dark Forces. There's a lot of these other ones that they could bring back. Ooh, Commander 2?
Well, I was going to say, do you think it's going to be a remake? Now, they did emphasis on the fact that it's a controller. So we then tend to think it's coming to console, right? Console, PC, not so much in the mobile market. I think they have that genre kind of already in wraps with other games they're already working on when it comes to the Star Wars brand. But for an actual console game, dude... Do you think they bring back 1313? Like, I really wanted to see that game. Do you remember that?
That was the one that just totally disappeared, wasn't it?
Absolutely. That was Amy Hennig. Amy Hennig left Naughty Dog to come over to EA, start her own studio, kind of build up their own story campaign.
Naughty Dog personnel on it too. Oh man, take my money.
Well, that's just it, right? And then EA goes, "Nah, we don't want to do single player content." And it's just like, oh. And then they came out with Jedi Fallen Order. So, hey, you know what?
A decade later, the tribe has spoken. We want more single player games.
That's the other side of it now, too, right? Let's look at the fact that EA no longer holds the exclusive rights to the Star Wars IP when it comes to the video game industry. They had a 10-year deal. Dude, that 10 years is up. In fact, they cut it short by 2 years. Disney cut them short by 2 years because it was pretty well a solid disaster. They
weren't very psyched about Battlefront, I take it.
Well, so it had a rocky start. Remember, it was just littered with loot boxes, and the fans just had a huge uproar about it, right? Everybody had to pay for new characters, pay for this, pay for that, pay. It was just, dude, like the wallets were open and the hands were out, and that's all they were looking at. And fans, we didn't like that. Consumers were mad about it all, and the backlash then, of course, came right across social media. And that put a stop on things. EA kind of backed up a bit, did some readjusting. I hear from rumors that it's come right back around now. If you actually jump into it now, I haven't been in that game in forever now at this point. But apparently it's a solid game now, right? There's a lot to it. Will they have a third? Because that's been a while now, Scott. You think we will get a third edition on that one? Is that what they're going to announce?
Well, I think it could be possible, but at the same time, it's not their leading Star Wars property series. So it could just go the way the last series did, where they wait 10 years and then come out with Battlefront 1 again. But that's hard to say, really.
We'll see. Ubisoft is working on a Star Wars game too. Nobody knows anything about that. Well, we're going to see a little tease about that. Maybe like how long has that been in development? That kind of thing. Star Wars is massive, and who knows who's working on it. But if Disney has been how they have been focused on picking the right developer for the specific title and brand, I think we're going to be in for a fantastic game. We saw Respawn just crush it with Jedi Fallen Order, right? But when you talk about Marvel and the whole Disney IP kind of thing, and how they pay attention to Spider-Man and they give it to Insomniac, and look at what they've created for us to play, right? So it's just, they line up the right developers, Scott. I think we'll be just fine, and we'll see where it goes from there. But there's a lot of questions and speculations leading up to 14th
I want
of December.
Rockstar or Bioware.
Dude,
or Bioware. Though.
Give it to Rockstar. No, forget Bioware. Nah, I've dealt with Bioware for years now, and my Anthem is now dead. Give it to Rockstar. No, you know what? Bioware is in, I think they're just in rocky waters right now, unfortunately, right? We saw Mass Effect kind of hit a stumble. They came out with a remastered edition, which would hit nostalgia fans really, really well, which is great. I want to see a complete remake of the game, I think, but we'll see now. They're focused on the next Mass Effect and Dragon Age, and it sounds like Dragon Age has kind of been a little bit of an up and down battle as well, is where that's at right now. Who knows when we're going to see that game over there. There's a lot in the works for BioWare and trying to reestablish the quality of that studio that they've built themselves to be upon, right? And then all of a sudden we've had a couple stumbles, and it's incredible, Scott, to see how well a studio can shine to all of a sudden mess up once and just crush them right down to the bottom, right? Like,
hey, anybody heard about CD Projekt Red?
That's
that one's gonna echo through the halls of eternity.
Unfortunately, right? But dude, you talk about CD Projekt Red. The Witcher series was incredible. Now, 1 didn't really hit too well off with me. Like 2 was okay.
I really liked 2.
A lot of people did, but it was 3 that really hooked me in, and that's where I was like, "Wow, these guys!" And then just free content, free content, free content, free content. Oh, here's a little bit you got to buy. But it's 30 hours, right? So free content, and it just kept cycling. And CD Projekt Red seemed like they could do no wrong until Cyberpunk 2077 launched. And then that's what I mean. The highs 1 minute in the studio are the next lows for the next game. You never know from game to game to game. So BioWare, maybe if they do make the Star Wars game and it's done right, dude, it could shoot them right back to the top. So there's so many, fingers crossed and opportunities here for Star Wars fans and Disney alike that, we just have to sit and wait for the 14th because nothing's really been kind of explained or what's happening or speculations of what's going on. We've just been told that there's a game announcement coming, and that's all we know. So fingers crossed. But dude, Rockstar do a Star Wars? Oh, yo, I'm so in.
It's almost like Obsidian, Bethesda. If they got together to do one, man, would that hit?
Yeah, man.
It'd be a little buggy, but you have to expect that out of there. So.
No, you don't. Not anymore, man. They don't get by with that stuff. You got Microsoft dollars. I'm
going to be disappointed if Fallout comes out with no issues.
Hey, this isn't a Bethesda game. That's funny. We'll see. Right now, Bethesda is hard at work on Starfield. So that's your
fingers crossed
game
for that as well.
Well, I know Nate's already pumped, dude. Nate can't wait for this game, and we're like, I don't know, man. He's just whatever. We'll see. I don't know anything about it yet. But dude, what we do know a little bit about though is Final Fantasy 14 surpasses 24 million players.
Holy, that's still climbing. Has that game been out for 10 years now?
So it's also the most profitable game as well. Naoki Yoshida said as well. This comes from Danielle Pardis over at Games Industry Up, as Daniela is always covering it hot over there. She's got this one comes us with Final Fantasy 14 is now the most profitable entry into the franchise after reaching 24 million registered players. Dude, take note, Scott. Take note, because to play Final Fantasy 14, the MMO, you need to pay for the service. It's not a free
Yeah,
game. This is a service.
no,
This
it's
is a
a
monthly fee.
membership sort of thing. Yeah,
Exactly. That's a dude, 24 million registered players right now, all paying a monthly fee. The milestone was confirmed by Final Fantasy 14 game director Naoki Yoshida at a recent preview event for its upcoming Endwalker expansion. As reported by IGN, the MMORPG, which initially launched in 2010,
yeah, there we go.
hit 4 million registered users in 2015 and 10 million in 2017. Dude, it just keeps climbing. You all know just how hard things were for us when the original Final Fantasy 14 Yoshida said discussing Final Fantasy 14's original launch. Since then, we were able to transform the title into one that provides a major contribution to our company's profits.
Yeah, I'll say.
No kidding. It's perhaps unbecoming of me to say, but in terms of our business, we've been able to achieve great success. Moving forward, we're going to spare no expense with our investments to ensure that this game continues to be one which our players can enjoy. End quote. No kidding. 24 million registered users. Dude, like somebody do the math for a second. 24 million times whatever that monthly fee is. Dude, even if it's $10. Like, I know it's more than that, but still, like, come on.
And month after month after month, like, that's a huge amount. This is almost World of Warcraft money. Perhaps more than that is generating now. I haven't really followed up on how World of Warcraft has been doing, but this just continues to grow, and they're adding more content to it. So that's really a model about how these games as a service can really work out.
Absolutely. It seems to be working just fine, right? They should, I say those who are making any games of service, like we can talk about it, dude. It's Marvel's Avengers, for example. Like, I always talk about this game because how much I love it, but at the same time, it's a love-hate relationship, because at the end of it, there's nothing left to do, and but yet you go to Final Fantasy 14, they have 24 million players there each and every day, each and every month, for a reason. Maybe you should kind of take a look into what they're doing and see what keeps people from coming back. Why are they still there? Like, what works for that game? Now, obviously, Marvel's Avengers, very different from Final Fantasy, but there's still a model underneath all that drives these players and motivation to be there each and every month for a reason, right? Like, and they pay for it every month, Scott. That's this thing. Like, dude, I bought Marvel's Avengers. I'm good to go now, and I'm just waiting on more content. So really, do Crystal Dynamics need to do anything? No, not really. I played my game. I had a great time.
They've already sold the sandwich. You don't need the fries on top of that, because they're not really going to make too much off of it. Yeah. I'm sure there's paid DLC being planned, but it's not nearly the same kind of degree as Final Fantasy.
Man, that's just crazy.
Every time I think of games as service, I think of, oh man, if only Destiny had done this or that. Or something else, that was one that was disappointing to me, just because I was ready. We talked about how some game studios come out with hits, and then one stumble. Yeah. Well, that was Bungie for me.
That's fair, right? When they launched, dude, like, I remember the first one launched, I didn't play it. I really didn't like it. 2 launched, I played the campaign, I finished it, I really enjoyed the campaign. Nate stuck around. He had a good time. Cool. And now to go back to the game, I feel like I'd be completely lost, but I know there's a ton of people playing Destiny 2 right now, and it's
day in, day out,
and it's a solid game, right? Like, there's a lot there for people to enjoy, and it's nothing that is wrong with it. It's just, for us right now, I feel like we're just too late in the game to get it back into it. And it's hard for me to pick something up that I've already put down so long ago.
Yeah.
But dude, what somebody's not putting down is Skyrim, because Skyrim player breaks the game by reaching level 241 before leaving Helgen.
I remember seeing something about this, and it made me flash back to how I broke Oblivion.
Well, dude, this comes from Andy Brown over at NME. One Skyrim player spent weeks leveling up in the tutorial area, only to find that being massively over-leveled actually made their game much harder. In a Reddit post spotted by Games Radar, user Harlan Sinclair chipped in to discuss an ongoing exploit where players can earn significant levels without leaving Helgen, Skyrim's tutorial level. The exploit in question involves hitting your companion repeatedly, who won't take lethal damage but will still provide XP for hitting them. Dude, this was like 2016 bug. It's like, why is this still a thing? But apparently it scaled them up so bad that once they left that tutorial level, Helgen, it broke the game. Like, he died. He would just die because he had no armor to go with all of his
every
levels.
Animal, every creature, as big or small, it scales off of your level. So if you inflate your level, you're actually inflating everyone around you. When I did that with Oblivion, there was a lot of ways you had to kind of prevent that from happening. But there was the same kind of tricks. You get somebody to walk onto a trap, it holds them there, and you just keep healing them. And they just keep taking damage, so you keep healing, and
that's funny.
It's one way to level your character up. I had a lot of fun with that as a kid, just kind of messing around. But it's funny to see that still exists in the new iteration of the game. And how many Skyrims late is this? Is this Skyrim V1 or is this Skyrim V8 on the fridge? You think they would have patched it by now?
You would think, but apparently it's not patched. Scott, let's move on to what game announcements and releases do we have for today, buddy? We got some cool highlights here.
Yeah, we've got some interesting news. This is something in the vein of Torchlight here.
Yeah.
That would be a dungeon crawler. I'm not especially familiar with that one, but it has made its debut back in 2009. Okay.
Yep.
Well, since that day, the game has become a cult favorite amongst ARPG fans and has spawned 2 sequel games as well. That was in 2012 and then 2020. And for those who haven't had the chance to experience the entire Torchlight saga, they are excited to announce a massive anniversary sale on the Nintendo Switch and Steam. Okay, that's cool. I like that, trying to get people into it.
Yep, very cool.
Now, they go on to list a lot of the prices here, but let me just say 75% off. That's going to make a good price no matter what the starting number is.
That's for sure, buddy.
Now, we also have an announcement from Flow Studio. They've dropped a new gameplay trailer for Lens Island. I think I said that right. Yeah. Featuring more details on the 4 main aspects of the game: the building, growth, exploring, and the fight. That's pretty cool.
It's very cool.
Sounds of that. We have some full releases today, and that is the Crysis Remastered Trilogy. Ooh, I gotta get in line for that one. That is on PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, Series XS, Switch, and PC. Almost everywhere. We have the Demon Slayer. Oh, this is another good one. Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba. And that is, there's more to that title. Sorry.
Dude, it's
the
like this
Hinokami Chronicles. I'm going to start from the top one more time. Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, the Hinokami Chronicle.
What? Right. What kind of title is that?
It's based on an anime, if that explains it.
But it explains everything.
That is on Xbox One, Series XS, PlayStation 4, 5, and the Switch and PC.
Yeah.
And we also have NHL 22. Hey, this one's for Corey specifically.
He's on it right now.
PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox One, Series X and S. And lastly, The Good Life, coming to the Xbox One, PlayStation 4, the Switch, and PC.
There we go, dude. That's okay. So we played Crysis 1 Remastered, and Nate and I, we reviewed on the show. You can check our opinions on that one inside thegame.ca. However, it didn't really seem to work all that well for us. As a stealth game, dude, I didn't feel very stealthy whatsoever as I get spotted from 10 miles away.
Yeah.
It kind of broke my experience. But
I think you're more so supposed to play as the Master Chief in that game.
Well, Scott, that'll wrap up today's show. Hopefully the trilogy remaster is a lot better than the first one, and we'll see what happens from there. But everybody, you can always catch us over at InsideTheGame.ca, podcast services and TV streaming networks around the globe. I'm Drew, that's Scott, and we'll see everybody next week. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you all inside the game.